Dodge is ready to take the Dart to the racetrack. Mercedes previews an upgrade to the G-Class. The new Indy cars make their race debut. And we visit a car show with some English flair. I'm Ken, and this is your Monday edition of Autoweek TV. Here's the news from the car world. Rally driver Travis Pastrana will slip behind the wheel of the new Dodge Dart to compete in this year's Global Rallycross Championship. The race series is a spin-off of the crazy car antics you see at the X Games. This season's schedule has 6 events, including the X Games in Los Angeles at the end of June. The rally version of the Dart packs a turbocharged four-banger that pumps out more than 600 horsepower. That power gets to the ground via all-wheel drive. Mercedes-Benz plans to roll out a restyled version of the boxy G-Class SUV during the car show in Beijing next month. But it slipped a preview into the background of a photo of the revamped GLK. The sheet metal changes are minor, but the big news is that Mercedes will bolt a twin-turbo V12 into the new G-Class to create the G65 AMG. That engine will propel the G-Class from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.2 seconds. Look for the revamped G-Class to reach U.S. dealerships by the end of this year. IndyCar's new DW12 race cars and its new engines finally hit the track for racing on Sunday. And some teams were caught by the teething problems of new equipment, especially those running the Lotus engine. But Penske driver Helio Castroneves with Chevy Power rode to a fairly easy win on the streets of St. Petersburg. Ganassi driver Scott Dixon with Honda Power finished second. You can find a full report of all the weekend's racing action at AutoweekRacing.com. That's the news for today. We'll leave you with a report from West Coast editor Mark Vaughn on the Queen's English Car Show. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the drive.
If you count Aston Martin, Bentley, Rolls-Royce, Jaguar, and Mini and ignore who owns them, then yes, you can still get British cars in America. But there was once a time, before the EPA, DOT, and other restrictions, when you could buy all manner of cool and fun cars from the Sceptered Isle. And that is something to be celebrated. Each year, rain or shine, the Queen's English Car Show celebrates those old cars and the fact that so many of them are still running. In a good year, there can be over 400 cars that make it to Woodley Park in Van Nuys, California for the annual spring gathering. But rain the day and night before this year's show scared off the lightweights, which was fine. That meant the people who did show up, the true believers, were far more interesting.
Oh, it is lovely.
How was it last year?
Last year was underwater. Now it's just cold. We're very happy.
Yeah, it's going to be sunny all day, right?
The sun is out. That's all that counts. The cars are here. Everybody's having a good time.
Expecting a lot of cars?
Yeah. I think we will. They're just, people are coming. They had to get up, think about it, wipe off yesterday's mud and rain.
A little early.
The British are a hardy group.
They are.
Are most
of them actual British
people?
people?
No, they get a lot. But the British car people, I think, are more apt to go out in the inclement weather than the Italian car people even. So
yeah.
It'll be a good time for all.
Tougher. Stiff upper lip.
Yes, stiff upper lip. Right.
Tony Rayner drove his Singer Le Mans all the way from Claremont.
I got 3 of these things. I need a lot of therapy.
Rayner is something of an oddity here in that he's a real Englishman with a real English accent, which explains his love of English cars. He does all his own work on the Singers and does a beautiful job of it, we might add. Lex DuPont inherited his love of British cars, particularly his 1955 HRG, which has been in his family since new.
This car was, as far as I can remember back, it was in a garage that my mother had. And my father raced them, and that's the way I've grown up.
Lotus replica owner John Holodnik thinks British sports cars look cool.
I think they just have such a unique look. They look unlike any other car make. I mean, ever since I was younger, I was always attracted to the styling of, especially the roadsters like the Austin Healys and things like that, and the Triumphs.
Laura Bateman has always had Triumphs.
Well, I think it started when my dad bought the Herald for $300 back in the 70s, and then my brother had to outdo me and bought a TR4 for $400. Fun to drive, fun to own. You know, they don't depreciate. You can fix them yourself. I rebuilt the carburetor on my own before, so it's like no biggie.
Sheldon and Irene Jones like Morris Minor Woodies. Now there's a sub-niche.
The old flathead Woody, they're only good for about 13, 14 mile per gallon. You get these things to get 35 mile per gallon. And the other thing is they're affordable.
And they're easy to fix, right?
Yeah, it's actually mostly MG midget or Austin Haley Sprite engine parts and mechanical parts.
But all too soon, the authentic British barbecue truck was leaving, and it was time to say cheers until this fall's gathering of the best of France and Italy. Cheerio for now.
Catch all the latest auto enthusiast news at Autoweek.com, in Autoweek magazine and iPad edition. Talk with us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Autoweek USA.